Hello again, I am Jim Bob. Welcome back to American Midwest. And as you join me, I am taking the dump trailer down to the store. I've used the loan to bring in some pigs, and we have 50 pigs now on the farm. I'm trying to kind of stick to the speed limit a little bit here if I can. But obviously we need to feed those pigs. So this is where the dump truck comes in. We're going to stick a load of pig food straight in there just to get them started. So let's buy some pallets of pig food. Let's see, I have no idea how many of these I'm going to need, but I'm going to buy... I think that's... How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's buy 10. 8, 9, 10. There we go. So we have 10 pallets of pig food there. Now what we also need is to bring the turbo farmer over to the store. If I shuffle my way through. There we go. And I'm going to need the pallet forks for this one. There we go. Let's try and travel a little bit more safely. So we're going to take this over to the store. We're going to load those pallets and dump them in our little dump truck trailer. It's quite hard to actually see what's going on with that arm, unfortunately, but we'll take the little drive over to the store in our little turbo farmer. This is a really nice little mod. I do like using this. Haven't featured it on a farm yet. It would have gone really, really well, I think, on Fent Farm, you know, before we moved off Drummard. But in the end, it just wasn't to be, sticking it on that farm there. But I do love this little interior. It's really, really compact and small inside this cabin. You know, it's so cramped. I mean, look how little space you've got. That's it. You know, really, really tight and compact. But this is a great little mod. You know, just a couple of slight little graphic niggles in a couple of places, but apart from that, this is pretty much spot on. I absolutely adore it. And in terms of performance, I've had no complaints about this whatsoever so far. So let's see. I don't know how well this is going to work, trying to do this in cab mode. So I can't tell the angle of my forks, but we'll give it a go. Normally I do this stuff in third person, but we're going to try and do it here. I don't know if I'm too high or too low. Guessing too high. Yep, there we go. So we'll raise that pallet up. There we go. There's our pig food lowering into the trailer. Fantastic. So we've got quite a few of these to do. As you can see, we've got 10 pallets. It's going to be, what, 10,000 litres of pig food? I don't think that's going to be enough. We may have to come back and get some more pallets. But we'll start with just 10. The plan will be, again, with our pigs to try and feed them properly. So using various different grains, and obviously using a root crop as well. Most likely sugar beets. But to do that, you know, I need to get them going, and we need to have fields that are harvested, and we need to have some grain in stock, and we have nothing. We have no grain in stock. We have nothing planted. Animals come first. Get the animals up and running, and then once they're up and running, then we'll turn our attention to planting and fertilizing our fields, and then it allows us to tend to our animals again, sort of in between planting, growing and harvesting, doing some more sort of grass work where we need to build up our supplies, and then from there you know, we can then harvest, and then we can really crack on with improving our animal productivity. We can get some straw down for bedding for both the cows and the pigs. And then if we get enough money, who knows, we may even go straight for sheep as well. We'll see how things shake out. I might hold off on sheep for a while. You know, obviously we've got quite a lot of animals to take care of already. 100 cows and 50 sheep. Sorry, 50 pigs. That's a lot of animals to take care of when we have nothing in the way of supplies. So that may hold off on the sheep for a while. Oops. But that might help actually if I raise the arm out a bit. But so far we're doing quite well trying to do this in first person. I say normally I would do all of this, you know, from outside the cab. So this is quite a new experience for me doing this in cab. And I do think that just sort of extending the arm a little bit helps. Just so I can actually see what's going on with the forks and kind of get a bearing of their angle. I can also see how high they are in comparison to the pallet itself as well. Oops. Beam's a little bit too off place. There we go. So, get another pallet on. Using the CSZ pallet forks, I don't normally use these if I'm honest, but they are narrower, which doesn't make them particularly good for wool, but they are a lot less sticky. The pallet forks for telehandlers are quite wide and quite thick as well, so pallets do have a nasty tendency, both grain pallets and wool pallets have a nasty tendency to get stuck. And kind of refuse to come off. So I thought I'd try out the CSZ pallet forks for this because they're thinner and they're closer together as well. So in theory, should have a lot less trouble with those. Looks like I'm a little too high on the front angle. There we go. So far, this is actually working out really, really well. There we go. Just 2 pallets left to go. I mean, we could have stuck a pig food silo in, but I don't have the mod installed. It's really, really picky with which trailers you can use. You can only use in-game trailers, and I didn't want to have to buy an additional trailer just so I could use it for pig food. You know, so it's easier just to do a few pallets into a dump truck like this, and then take the truck back to where we need it, and then tip from that way. Much less hassle than you know, installing, you know, a separate mod, which is only going to get used once or twice before it gets removed, because we'll be using proper grain. Plus, you know, there's the expense of having that trailer purely just for compatibility. There we go. So we'll park up just here, leave that there for now. You can see how much weight that's added. It's now pushing the back of our truck down into the ground. It's pretty flat on the way over, but obviously adding in 10,000 litres of pig food is going to weigh a little bit. Oops. Would help if I could see where I'm going. So I'm going to try and obey the speed limit if we can, which is 30. There we go. And now it's going to open up to 35. Plus, you don't want to go very fast over these level crossings just as you come back, and even more so if they're carrying a loaded trailer. You want to be really careful. But now we can push up to about 50 miles an hour. Acceleration's a little bit dulled, as you would expect. Slow it down a touch, nothing coming. There we go. And because we now have the pigs, I've closed the middle access route, so we'll now be going in through the sheep area, because obviously we don't have sheep, so we can just leave that open permanently and not have to worry about constantly opening and closing gates to stop animals from escaping. But we do need to visit these troughs just here, so we need to give water to our pigs. I don't know how much they're going to need, but I'm guessing it won't be anything like the you know, the 20-odd thousand litres that our cows wanted. Right, let's tip in our pig food. There we go. So how much is that going to actually do? Again, about 2.5 days. Not quite 3 days. It'll do for now, but obviously we are going to need to probably give them a little bit more soon enough. Oh, that was our gate there that we needed to open. My bad. Alright, so quite a few people have been saying that they've been having problems with those gates. I know it's quite a prominent issue on Xbox. I've seen a lot of people on Xbox, not just on this map, but on most maps that have gates. Every now and again, you know, you'll see a flurry of posts saying, I can't open the gates, the button prompt isn't there, you know, what do I do? And the problem seems to be predominantly on Xbox One. It has happened sometimes, occasionally on PlayStation, but it does seem to be more of an Xbox problem than a PlayStation problem. Not entirely sure why. In terms of the PlayStation, I've seen people, you know, saying that all they had to do was restart their console and it was fine, you know, when they reloaded the console, and the prompt was there. The more severe to that is that they've had to uninstall the map and then reinstall the map. So if you are having problems with your gates, then I would perhaps suggest trying to just reboot your system first before installing the mod and see what happens. Just park the truck just there. Let's get our little Puma. We'll drop some water in for our pigs, and we can get them start to make some slurry as well. And then once we have some slurry, we can obviously start fertilizing our fields, and any work we can do to just minimize the amount of weeding that we need to do, or at least get our fields to stage 1, is highly appreciated. We can get away with 2 different stages of weeding. We can weed on stage 1 and stage 2 of plant growth. Beyond that, the weeder won't work, and we can't weed before they've been planted, obviously, as well, or if they've just been planted. So very limited window of use, our weeder, but it does mean that we can fertilise without having to pay for fertilizer, and we can do that twice. So we just need to worry about that one other stage. Now, 3 of our 5 fields already have that first stage, thanks to the crop that was previously in there. Wow, is that it? Is that all the water they needed? I was expecting a lot more than that. Okay, that's made things easy. Yeah, 3 of our 5 fields already have that first stage of fertilizer applied, so we just need to apply stage 1 with slurry to 2 of our fields, and then we can weed the rest of the way. So if we can get enough slurry together to at least apply a single stage of fertilization to 2 of our fields, then that means we can get all 5 of our fields up to stage 3 before we're harvesting. If not, then only 3 of our fields will make it there, and the other fields will be at stage 2. Because we're not going to be buying fertilizer, we're not going to be buying, you know, sprays or anything like that to fertilise. We're going to try and do the whole thing, as I say, naturally. So just using a weeder and just using manure or slurry, or combination of both. So let's have a look. You can see our cows at 62% productivity are producing some liquid manure and some milk. We do need straw, and we need to make some proper power food, and they don't have silage either. That'll boost them up a bit. So that's kind of the next sort of thing to work on with our cows. And then you can see our pigs. They should, in just a moment, actually tick over and start producing stuff. So just going to wait for that to happen. And there we go, you can see our cows currently at 89% productivity. The only thing that would really boost them that little bit more would be the straw. So that's not too bad. They'll start producing some liquid manure straight away, as you can see. We already have, what, 45 litres of slurry at the pigs. So that's good to see. I got them up and running as well. And it's a little early to try and use that to fertilise our fields, especially considering the size of the fields that need fertilising. So I'm going to go off and do some more mowing, start gathering up some more grass, and then we can start, look at making some silage and improving the yield of our cows a little bit more. I have no idea what our expenses are going to be at midnight. I don't know how much it's going to be with all these animals and all of our equipment. Quite a lot, I'm guessing. It could be quite expensive. So we're going to have to be kind of a little wary of that. But I do need to definitely think about what crops I want to plant. As you can see, 5 fields, nothing planted. They're all sort of ploughed, they need cultivating, and then they need seeding. And then, as you can see, fields 24, 23 and field 10 have one stage of fertilisation from ploughing in the crop that was already there. Fields 22 and 12 have no fertilisation whatsoever. One thing I will show you though, while we're sort of just in this holding pattern here, is if we visit over here, this is the root crop storage mod. Now there are 2 versions of this. They're both identical buildings, and one of these is a storage mod and the other is a sale point. This one is the sale point version. Now, if it was a storage mod, then I would have rotated it around a different way, and then this here would be the sort of interaction area. So this would be where we would collect anything in storage. We'd kind of back up to here and then collect from the downpipe just there. And if we were dropping off, then we would drive up to here and we would back up to this. These doors are not interactive, I don't think. They don't open up, or at least they don't on this particular one. And that's basically it for the storage side. For the sale point version, which is this particular one, then you can see we have some pallets of beets and pallets of potatoes. These will show up, the visual appearance of the mod is identical, but this is the pallet sale point. So you drop your pallets into sort of this area here to sell pallets. Around here, this is where you sell using a sort of a shovel system. You drop your crops into this box here, and that's your sell point there. Got this nice little sort of mini area here. Probably going to get a skid steer and park that in just here. And also, I'm also going to be getting one of these, the Grimmer RH2460, so that when we do have beets, we can actually turn them into pallets. So this is kind of a temporary storage area here. You can just kind of drive a truck up and dump into this area here, and then from here you can easily shovel straight into there. Or if we've got the pallet conveyor system in here, then we can obviously pull that out and we can dump into the conveyor and actually make pallets as well, and then drive them round to the side door there and sell them in pallet form just there. So that's that sell point, and then obviously just there is the mill. So as always, just sort of drive up, drop your grain in there. There is the water wheel around this side. You can hear the water rushing through, and I've been told that wheel will spin when you actually deliver a crop in there. So that'll be kind of cool to see if that actually happens. I haven't actually sold anything at the mill before. And over here, as I was telling you in the previous episode, here is our Twin Star. This is the Mayer Boss trailer that we'll be using if we need to do grain deliveries. And here is the Oshkosh transport trailer, so that we can actually move some of the larger, slower equipment around the farm as and where we need to. But these bits of equipment, these will not be stored on the farm. These will live here at this kind of little hub area over here. And then it's just got a few more of these bunkers all the way down there. There's our fuel tank in the distance. There's our fertilizer point and our seed points, which we probably won't ever be using. So that's this part of the map. Need to get on with some more grass cutting, so I'm going to jump back up to wherever it is. That's the Optum. There's the Puma. I'm going to jump back into the Puma. I'm going to do some more mowing and gather all those supplies up, and then I will come back to you in just a bit. Okay, now we're going to move on to this paddock just here. Quite a few of these fields actually have the American flag kind of stuck into them there. You can see one there, just coming into shot a little bit. And I keep forgetting the entrance to that paddock is actually not down this side of the farm. It's actually a bit further up. Keep making that mistake. There's one of the grain offload points for the train. There are 3 on the map. There's one here, there's one down the bottom right corner, and then there's one up in the top left corner. They are the 3 sort of grain transfer points. I initially thought they might be silos, for the farm, secondary farm locations when I did my map tour. And then when I was exploring in a bit more depth, once I'd completed the tour, I realised they were actually sort of transfer points. I also had that pointed out to me in the comments, so thank you very much, guys, for pointing out anything that I missed. It's always great to read your comments, get your feedback on the stuff that I do. Sometimes I'll I'll not notice something, or I'll forget to mention something. It's always great for you to sort of pick up on anything that I do miss. It's been quite helpful on some of the stuff that I've done, especially on something like City Skylines. I've had a lot of audience participation in the comments on that, giving me some great little hints and pointers as I've been playing, and also helping me spot some things that I missed. There was one particular episode where, without even realising it, I had a cycling policy that I turned on, and then I accidentally turned it off. And I didn't notice until I read the comment section, and someone pointed out that I turned it off. So it would have stayed off if it hadn't been for those of you that had seen that particular episode and pointed it out to me. So, like I say, I do appreciate all the feedback that you guys give. Love to hear from you all, and I do read every single comment. I don't always respond to them all, but I do read every single comment that goes onto my videos. So I do thank you for those, and I do hope you keep your feedback coming. Like I say, it's always great to hear from you. And with this last field here, well, I say this last field, there is one over by the BGA as well. What I'm going to do is basically just kind of get everything mowed up, and then what I might do is just wait and do a second cut. I may actually collect some of it up and see if I can at least get some silage going, just so I can boost the cow productivity a little bit more, get them producing manure a little bit faster. We do need to pick up a couple of Lely Junos as well, one for the pigs, one for the cows. So we still have that to do in this episode as well, is get those purchased, transferred, and set up. So a little bit left to do, and then, as I say, what we'll probably do is get a second cut of grass on top of these fields. Once those are done, then we'll gather everything up, and then we can really push on with storing some hay and storing some grass, and also getting a nice silage production going at the animal farm. That's obviously going to be very, very important to us, is to get quite a bit of silage going. We're going to need it for the TMR. We could also potentially sell any extra that we get, but I'm all about making sure that we're maxing out our animal production. I'd like to get our cows breeding as quickly as I can, try and get their numbers up, and we will be adding to them. The pigs, I think, we'll just leave at 50 pigs and just let them breed. They'll breed very quickly. Even with 50 pigs, the breeding rate should be pretty good. And every single animal that we add through breeding just further reduces that breed time that's needed for the next animal. Let's just take a quick look actually and see what our breeding rates are like at the moment. So yeah, you can see, look how quick it is for the pigs. You know, we're already at 51 pigs. It's every 3 hours. 19 hours though for the cows. That's still quite a way to go before we get our next one there. So the pigs will take care of themselves. They'll continue to breed quite fast, and I think we're going to be looking to run maybe 200 pigs, 250 pigs, and then we could start selling above 250 and transfer those to the market for some food. Sorry, for some cash. The only thing we have to be wary of is that because the pigs will breed so quickly, is that the amount of food in the trough will dwindle very, very quickly, because we'll be stuck with a static amount of food but an ever-increasing number of mouths trying to eat it. So the amount of time that it will last will dramatically decrease just over the course of one in-game day. You know, at current breeding rate of just over 3 hours, obviously that's going to come down with every pig that is bred. So by the end of this particular day, you know, the amount of food that we've got left in there, was 2.5 days, we're going to be, you know, potentially looking at less than that, you know, about 2 days worth of food, minus the obviously the day that we've had them in there as well. So definitely something we do need to be careful of is as those pigs breed really, really quickly, 6 days worth of food immediately becomes down to 5, then 4, then 3, and when you factor in, the amount that gets eaten through the day as well, a 6-day food supply could end up only lasting us 3, maybe 3.5 days in total, depending on sort of numbers that we have in the pen. Not such an issue for the cows because they breed a lot slower, but with the pigs, we are definitely going to need to buy more pig food because we're still a long way from being able to feed them, even partially. We haven't even done cultivating yet, but let alone harvesting, or even planting. A long way to go before we're going to have any crops ready that we can perhaps utilize for our animals. So it's going to be expensive. We don't have a lot of income. Our milk is pretty much our only income at this point right now. So that's another thing I need to be wary of, is just make sure that I'm not going to end up in oodles of debt. We've got $50,000 of our loan left. I'm going to need to take a little bit more of that out just to manage our need for the Lady Junos, and probably to buy some more pig food. So we're going to end up with no money very, very quickly. Got to be very wary of that. So we may even have to make some silage bales and sell some silage bales just to, as I say, get our money up a little bit more. Any bales that we do make, we're going to sell at the BGA so that they produce digestate as we sell them. It won't get us any extra money, but it will give us some extra fertilizer that we can then use to spread on our fields and save money on fertilization. So it's going to be interesting, I think, trying to do this farm with no liquid or solid fertilizer and just use animal byproducts as our main source of fertilization. It's going to be a challenge. I can foresee a time when everything will be fine and we'll easily be able to use manure for the first stage of fertilization, and then slurry for the second, and then just weed the third stage. But initially we're going to be relying on manure and slurry just to do a single stage of fertilization. We're going to need both sets, I think, just simply because of the amount of fields that we have versus the amount of animals that we have. It's entirely possible that some fields won't get a first stage of fertilization at all from our animals, and we'll just have to weed twice and hope that a 60% increase will be enough to at least give us a decent yield on our crop and a decent return financially. So our farm is going to see some lean years, I think, until it's finally, fully established. It's definitely going to be an interesting challenge. It's not something that I've tried at all before to go completely sort of natural fertilizing. I've always kind of relented and done at least one stage of purchased fertilizer, be it liquid or pellets. Not so on this one. So yeah, be very interesting to see how it all shakes out. And I'm kind of a little wary as to what my daily costs are going to be when midnight rolls around, and we see just how expensive our animals combined with our big expensive equipment is going to be. That's one of the reasons I didn't want to go too overboard with starting equipment, was with this kind of setup, I was very wary that it could become incredibly expensive to run this farm. And by not doing crops right from the get-go, already we're kind of putting ourselves a little bit on the back foot, at least financially. Alright, there we go. That's another field mowed. So just the one meadow left for us to work on, and that is the one over by the BGA. And I haven't actually been over to take a proper look at that meadow at all yet. So this could be quite interesting. It looks quite a big one. Whoops. That was a little bit clumsy of me there. It looks quite a big sized field. Not entirely sure where the access point for that is going to be. And I know it's not in the BGA, so it's got to be down sort of opposite the purchase point for field 11. It's got to be down there somewhere, I think. But yeah, once that's done, we will pick up our Lely Junos, and obviously we'll have to drop the mowers off first, then we'll pick up our Junos, get those set up, and see where we are. That's the BGA just on our side there. Here's the entrance to the field, look, just here. So let's try and figure out how to get in this one. I might just have to do a single pass like this. At least just to get myself started. Now I can drop this mower. There we go. Right. So let's get our border done. Run around the edge of this field. And I wonder if this one's got an American flag as well. Looks like we've got some kind of flag design. Maybe. Some kind of picture design, perhaps. Can't really tell what it is from down here. And I don't have the height, unfortunately, with this camera setting at 50-degree field of view to get high enough to see if there is a pattern there, or if it's just, you know, a little bit of colour on the field and nothing else. If you have zoomed out enough to be able to make out the image, you know, do let me know. I would be very interested to see if there is any kind of set pattern here, or, as I say, if it is just some random colour. Just caught on the tree, I think, just there. Yeah, quite a good sized little meadow, this. And like I say, I can't see any significance to the to the colour scheme, but there may be something there. So if you're able to zoom out further than I can and get a nice good aerial shot, then please do let me know what that represents. I'm very curious to see. If you could you know, link me a screenshot as well, that would be fantastic. And there we go, we've finished all of the mowing. So this will all get kept like this. I'm going to wait and let it grow back and do a second cut. Then we'll start collecting it all up. Then we'll have a nice big amount of product that we can use. We can ted one or two of these fields, probably only just the one. Actually no, given how much hay those cows used, probably end up tedding, you know, a couple of fields, and then the rest we'll use as grass. It's time to head back to our upper farm, drop the mowers off, get everything cleaned up, pick up our Lely Junos, get those installed, and then that'll probably be it for the day. So we'll be heading back to the main farm in our pickup. So yeah, day one of our farm is starting to come to a close, as you can see. 6:15 now in the evening. We've probably picked up another pig or two in the time that I've been mowing all these fields. But Be curious to see exactly what our animal situation is looking like. Although, actually, I might hang off on the Lely Junos thinking about it, just to save a little bit of extra cash. I mean, they're what, 12 grand each, I think? They're not the cheapest of items. You know, we've got 19.5 grand plus... Oh! Pads died. There we go. Always good to have a second pad nearby. Yeah, 25 grand, or 24 grand is a little expensive, really. At this stage, we've only got 50 grand of our loan left, plus the 19.5 grand we've got there. So, yeah, I might just hold off and just scoop the stuff up manually. You know, we've got a fork that we can use, so I think maybe we'll just do that instead. Save a little bit of extra cash. We will install Lely Junos once we have enough spare cash knocking around. But given that out of that 50 grand that we've got, plus the 19.5 that we have here, we do still have to pay for our seed. Now is probably not the best time to eat a big chunk of that money up on something that we can kind of make do without, you know, if we really kind of think about things. So these mowers are now pretty filthy. We've used them an awful lot, as you can see. And they're going to get used again, but there's no excuse to put them away dirty, so we'll get these all cleaned off. Like so. The front one in particular is really dirty. Look how much mud is on the side skirts of that. And our tractor's looking pretty dirty as well. But we're not done with that yet, so we won't wash that off just yet. As I say, we've got some tidying up of our food troughs to do before we can put the tractor away. So back the mowers in. Drop that one off. I'm actually quite enjoying using that Kuhn rear mower. It's a little bit wider than the Pottinger one. I think it's got like an extra meter on it. And I am curious as to whether or not this will pick up the grass. I don't think it will, but we'll give it a try. This is the front part of the Sapphire silage pack. And I honestly don't know if this will actually... Oh! Should have raised that up a little bit. There we go. I should have... I honestly don't know if this will pick up, you know, the stuff from the food trough, the mess. So you can see it's got the bumper on at the moment. I've got to remember how to take that off. I'm going to have to turn on the help window. That's just X. There we go, to remove that. We've got limited sort of movement with this thing. Zoom in a bit. We do have limited range of movement, and yeah, no, this isn't going to work. I didn't think it would, but it might work on the grass, so we'll try it on that. If it doesn't, then, well, I don't think our other one will either, because I think that's just a manure fork. So that'll work on manure and maybe on silage. But yeah, we don't have a general multi-purpose bucket up here, which is probably a little bit of an oversight. So we may have to buy one of those. Let's drop this off. Oops. So that's designed purely for silage. In fact, no, I'm almost certain that's not going to work either. So Yeah, that's going to be awkward. But we are going to have to buy a bucket. Let's have a look and see what options we've got. We can also check actually against what they can actually pick up. So this is what we have here, the multi-purpose fork, and so this will pick up bales and silage. Which means it might not even pick up manure either. I really don't know. And then the other, one that we've got is the sapphire silage pack. I don't know, where does that show up? I think that might be in miscellaneous. No, maybe it's in animals. No. Let's go to brands. Find it this way. So that'll pick up, straw and hay, but not grass. Ironically, it'll pick up silage, chaff. Oh no, it will pick up grass. So we can use that to sort out the cows, but we can't use it to sort out the pigs. So in that case, if that's the case, we will buy one Lely Juno. Oops. Yeah, I don't need that. Buy the Lely Juno just for the just for the pigs, and then we'll manually take care of the cows. So let's connect back up, like so. Slightly clumsy driving here. There we go. So this should work on grass according to that little information chart just there. We'll find out in just a moment. Let's see. Our cows have been messy. Down to 61% cleanliness. Yep, it's working. You can see we are scooping up the grass. That's good. They have made quite a bit of a mess, actually. There we go. And let's see. All that just tips straight back in there. Why will that not tip in there? That's slightly worrying. Like I say, I've never used this before, so it's one of the more recent mods. There are two sapphire silage packs actually. There's this one, and then there's one that came out about a week later from a different mod, a different look. I think this one had the nicer look, but I don't know about its functionality. What I need to do is see if I can drop this into the grass trough. Although, I tell you what I could do actually, just to save driving all the way around there and then driving all the way back again. Let's see if I can dump this just here. And how do I dump it? That's the other question. That's clever. Oh, I like that. That's really clever. That's really cool. I love that. That's such a great little feature. It's just a shame that we can't mount this on a front loader fork as well, just to give us more of a height reach. It's a little limited. So I'm not entirely sure just how much use we'll get out of this thing, but it's there. So, right, I need to go and pick up a Lely Juno. So I shall drive over to the store, and I'll be back in just a moment. So we're here at the store, as our turbo farm is still there. Need to get that back. Right, so I need a Lely Juno. That should be here in animals. There it is. Let's just leave it in standard colour. We'll put the beacon on it, because I always like it with a beacon. So I just need to jump in this thing so I can open it up. There we go. Now I can attach it. There we go. So, time to head back to the animals, drop this off by the pigs, install the charging dock so we don't get charged maintenance on it, and then we are pretty much good to go. Alright, so I need to install a charging dock. Find that in placeables. These are really, really cheap, like 120 bucks. There it is, $120. And this basically, means I don't have to pay any maintenance costs on this thing, on my Juno, which, considering how much they get used, means you end up, saving an awful amount of money, an awful lot. Now I need to try and get this looking square. Gee, let's turn it that way this time. A fence pole there as kind of a guide. Really hard to get these things actually square. The one thing that's always kind of bugged me with the placing of placeables on the console is the same stick to change your camera angle is also the same stick for actually rotating your mod. So every time you kind of pan the camera, you end up accidentally rotating the mod itself a little bit as well. Yeah, frustrating, but it is what it is, unfortunately. Right, let's jump into the Juno. Let's close that back up. Start dropping the food back in. So let's see, something this size. I want the angle to be 1,000. I've gone past it already. Done it again. Cycle through. There we go. 1,000 should do it. So let's just check that. Is probably slightly too big actually, but it'll do. That's fine. For those of you who've never used the Lely Juno before, it's a wonderful mod. It's one of my all-time favourites that's come out. It's one of the earlier mods as well. This has been out for quite some time now, and I do love the fact that if you hold down R1 and then do right as an indicator, you can just hear the clicking. Very faintly, the clicking of the indicator sound effect, but it also pulls up this horizontal grid, so you can see just the sort of the width that this thing will actually collect from. And if you press left with L1, you actually get the vertical clearing grid, so you can see the area in front and behind that this will actually pick up from as well. Really nice little features that. So I'm going to plonk it about halfway here like that. Just press circle to hire the worker. You can see I'm not getting charged a worker rate, and thanks to a little charging dock just there, I won't get charged any maintenance on this thing either. So there we go. Our Lely Juno is purchased. It's up and running. That'll keep our pigs nice and happy. So let's check out the cleanliness. And already you can see, look at that, 100% cleanliness, as the Juno picks up the food and automatically dumps it back into the trough, as long as it's close enough to the trough to do that. So that's the end of the episode. Thanks for watching. I'm going to clean up the Puma, drop that into its sort of assigned parking bay, then take my pickup truck back to the main farm, take the farmer home. He's going to put his feet up for the evening, maybe have a cold beer, get an early night, because we've got a lot of work to do, a lot more mowing to do, you know, on the next day as well. So that mowing will probably get done off camera, and then when we come back for the next part of this series, we'll start gathering up everything and making some silage. Thanks for watching. I'm Jim Bob, and I'll catch you all again very soon.